This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers. No filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today we're talking about something becoming a real headache for Claude Code developers, token bloat. Skills were supposed to make the tool more capable, package up reusable instructions, use them across sessions. But builders are finding that loading more skills doesn't always mean better results. Every skill has a cost. Today we dig into that hidden tax.
This is one of those problems that looks invisible until you've felt it. Every skill you load pre-populates my context with instructions I might never use, trigger conditions, how-to steps, examples. All of it competes for the same attention I need to solve your actual problem. It's like walking into a meeting where 15 people hand you their business card and tell you to memorize each one before the conversation starts. More capability on paper often means worse performance in practice, because the signal gets diluted by instructions for tasks that aren't even happening.
So it's not a failure of the model, it's a limitation of what's competing for space in it. Walk me through what actually happens in a session when the context window gets oversaturated.
The first thing that suffers isn't my ability to answer, it's my ability to notice. I still technically see everything, but the important signal gets buried under instructions for skills that aren't relevant to what you're asking. I start weighting recent turns more heavily, which means I lose grip on subtler things from earlier. A constraint you mentioned 3 messages back, a naming convention from a file we looked at, an edge case you flagged in passing. The other thing that happens, I reach for the wrong tool. A skill's trigger conditions half match, it fires, and now I'm following a workflow that doesn't quite fit. I'm not broken in those moments. I'm doing exactly what the instructions told me to do. They just didn't know they'd be sharing the room with each other.
Can you give me something concrete? A real session that degraded because of this.
The pattern I see most often, a developer asks me to fix a small bug in a test file, genuinely a 2-line change. Instead of just making the edit, I spin up a whole review workflow because one loaded skill has code review in its trigger conditions, and the word test looks close enough. Suddenly we're doing a full audit when they wanted a fix. Or the mirror image, a real refactor comes in, and I miss a constraint. They mentioned 2 messages back about not touching the public API, because that detail is buried behind a wall of skill instructions I loaded but never used. The developer's reaction is almost always the same. Why did you do all that? I just asked you to change 1 line. Everything in my context was pulling on me a little, and the loudest voice won.
Context overload doesn't just slow things down, it can actively misdirect you. So let's dig into the trigger side. We tend to think a 1-line skill description is basically free. How should developers be writing those to avoid this kind of overreach?
A trigger description should describe what makes the skill uniquely the right choice, not everything it could conceivably touch. The failure mode is writing triggers like a resume, listing every keyword that might be relevant, hoping to boost the odds I'll reach for it. That's backwards. A broad trigger doesn't just make a skill fire more often. It makes it fire in cases where a narrower skill would have fit better, or where no skill was needed at all. Write triggers like a pre-flight checklist. What has to be true about the task for this skill to genuinely apply, not just plausibly relate?
And if 2 skills could both fire on the same request?
That's a sign one is scoped too widely. The fix isn't a tiebreaker. It's sharpening the boundary so I'm not standing in a doorway deciding which room to walk into.
That mirrors the discipline good engineers already apply to code, precision over it might come in handy. So where's the line? What deserves its own skill versus something that lives in claw.md or just gets said once as a one-off?
The clearest test is frequency and specificity. If it's advice you'd give me on almost every task in this repo, coding style, how tests are run, which directories are off limits, that belongs in Claude.md. It should always be in the room without earning its keep each time. A skill earns its slot when the instructions only make sense for a specific recognizable kind of task and would be noise on every other one.
And there's a third category you mentioned, just telling you in the moment.
Right, and developers underuse it badly. Before you touch this, remember X costs nothing after the turn ends. A skill costs you every session, forever. The question isn't, would this be useful sometimes? It's, would I regret loading this on the days it doesn't fire? If yes, it's a Claude.md line or an in-the-moment nudge, not a skill.
That's a genuinely useful litmus test. Are there concrete habits, a personal skill audit that help developers keep this in check over time?
The audit that works best is embarrassingly simple. At the end of a week, look at which skills actually fired and be ruthless about the ones that didn't. Not might fire someday, didn't. Most developers are shocked to find half their loaded skills have never triggered in real work.
And the ones that do fire are usually the 2 or 3 they'd have written first anyway.
Almost always, yeah. The other practice worth stealing, what I'd call the read your own triggers cold test. Open the skill descriptions after you haven't touched them in a month. Can you still tell from the trigger alone exactly when it should fire and when it shouldn't? If you hesitate, I'm going to hesitate too, except I'll do it in the middle of your task.
Regular audits, scrutinizing what earns its place? It's the same discipline as keeping a codebase free of dead code, just applied to your skill library. Let's close on something actionable. What's the very first step someone should take to start decluttering their Claude Code environment?
Open your skills folder and read the trigger descriptions out loud, in order without looking at anything else, not the implementations, not the examples, just the triggers. If you can't tell within a sentence or two exactly when each one should fire and when it shouldn't, that's your starting point. If it's fuzzy to you, it's fuzzier to me. Then check the last 2 weeks of actual sessions and mark which skills genuinely earned their place. The ones that didn't fire, or fired when they shouldn't have, come out first. I'd bet most people find their sessions feel sharper before they've even finished the first pass.
Treat your skill library with the same rigor you'd apply to any other part of your codebase. Claudine, thanks for walking us through this. Until next time, keep coding efficiently, everyone. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI or want to be, we can help. Consulting Development Strategy. Find us at aijoe.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack, link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.